Back here with the People's Assembly of Eastbourne.
Hey!
Hey!
So you're, am I right in saying you would be massive supporters of Jeremy Corbyn?
For sure.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Even our sort of our affiliates, this is worth noting, after the local election here, 3 of the prospective MPs now back and are actively involved with our local People's Assembly. For example, the Green Party fella, Andrew Durlin, the local Labour prospective MP, Jake Lambert, and Paul Howard, who stood as a independent
They're all
MP
involved now
vote.
with People's
They're
Assembly.
very much involved. So we're really proud that we've managed to forge an alliance between the alternative neoliberal parties, and we're really.
I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, anti-war, you know, let's have peace in the world, anti-austerity, social justice. Why is he so vilified? I mean, what's by
He's taken away their power, isn't he? He's taken away the power from the Tories and the right wing. He wants to change that narrative. He wants to give us a better world, and they don't want that, do they?
Everything
want
is
to
at
maintain
stake
their power.
for the establishment. Everything is at stake. If he can popularise progressive and the politics of empathy and compassion, the game's over, isn't it? So it's about winning the argument and the conversation in the mainstream, as you tell us. Like in your video.
I mean, a fairer, more equal society. I mean, we were just talking about the sick and disabled having 30% of their employment support allowance taken away. Presumably that's to pay for Google's tax avoidance, for instance.
Yeah. I think one thing that really bugs me a lot is that we do have a very large poorer element of society here in Eastbourne and in East Sussex, and it's how we actually reach those people to help them to understand, not in a patronising way, but just to help them understand that they're being duped and tricked. They're being duped and tricked by the Tory government to believe that the people that they need to attack are their next door neighbours, their neighbours that may be an immigrant, their neighbour that may be a benefit cheat or something like that. Some way that they're being convinced that the people they need to look at is their next door neighbour that's taking what's rightfully theirs.
But Jeremy Corbyn as well, isn't it? They're you know, they're being inspired to hate him, you know, because of his sort of. And even the Andrew Marr the other day, the 1970s, driving a Capri, going to bring back the cold snow in Russia. And patchouli
Well, it's an
oil.
easy way for them to shut down the argument and the debate, isn't it? They don't want to. They don't want us to have a fairer world, because then it means some of that money pulls down from the top down to the ordinary people. You know, we're trying to work with lots of different groups.
So what's the answer? How do we do it? How do we convince people that actually they've got to vote, and their vote, if they went the right way with their vote, that actually there are people out there that are trying to make this world better for them, really make it better for them? What's the argument? How do we do it? Because that's what we keep asking ourselves. How do we convince people that
Well, I think what we're trying to do in Eastbourne, really, with the People's Assembly, is we've kind of realised that we can't rely on the state or on the government to do it. It's down to us. It's down to ordinary people to take control. You know, we've got to take care of our own communities, the people in our street, in our town, and if we can start making a difference there, that will spread out. You know, we've got to fix it from the bottom up, not from the top down.
On May the 8th, that was the day after the general election, right? I felt so low of the result nationally and certainly locally as well. And in a sort of a quick time after that, a couple of our activists thought, right, the next logical step is to create a People's Assembly. We'd seen what had happened with the London People's Assembly, thanks to you, sort of brought that to our attention. Before you know it, we've assembled the activists and, like I was telling you, the prospective MPs sort of thing.
So do you have regular meetings then, or
we do? We're obliged to have a bi-monthly sort of general meeting, but we also meet up weekly now in the outreach centre that we mentioned earlier, run by the guy Peter. We can do film showings there of activist movies. We can do our organising meetings and what have you. But going back to what I was saying about how low we felt on May the 8th, by doing this and creating this sort of platform locally for us to have a say, it's almost like we're taking democracy back, because I feel that our voices aren't going to be heard in the House by our sort of elected official, because I don't think she really...
how's your housing down here?
How's our housing down here? there's not a huge amount of social housing.
There's a lot of road.
There's a difficulty with the way that we understand that social housing works here, is that when people are homeless, when they have a need for housing, there's a lot of privately owned accommodation here. Not very well. B&Bs, yeah. There's a lot of people get put into those, and what we understand, what we're told is that the housing benefit that can be assigned to those properties is a certain fixed amount, but the landlord will actually charge maybe £20 more. So the landlord then is taking from those homeless people, say £20 out of their weekly income that is very low anyway, and so they're getting sort of doubly.
I mean, is work seasonal down here then?
As you're rightly saying, it is a tourist town, but I mean, obviously there's jobs here the whole time round, service industry, there's some manufacturing sort of thing, but it's quite expensive to live here, sort of edging towards sort of Brighton prices, but the wages here really don't match up, mate, quite frankly. And the opportunities here, like I say, are quite limited, so you have to commute to Brighton or London. Obviously a lot of people do commute to London from here.
But English seaside towns is a bit of a misnomer, just because we don't get the weather, do we? We don't, you must struggle if you have a bad summer. Statistically,
we actually get the most daylight hours here in Eastbourne than any other place in the whole of the UK. And interestingly, we've got a local solar panel firm, which I proudly use, supporting local. They've incidentally gone under because of, can you guess what? Obviously the cut to the subsidies by the Tory party.
Yeah. So you've lost a local solar...
They are going under, that is a fact, sort of thing. So
because you've got these beautiful downs just up the road, haven't you?
Which
as well?
are shale rich. But
are they?
Which were going to be protected, but now they're going to frack.
They're going to start fracking.
Yeah. They voted for it, haven't they?
There's no licences that have been granted any time yet, but the geologists have identified that our local hills here, the beautiful rolling downs, are shale rich, and our local MP, I'm sad to say, did vote for the bill the other day, which legitimises drilling sideways of areas of outstanding natural beauty, which is really quite disappointing, really.
So they can start fracking, is that
by law?
Yeah.
We feel that's the intention. It's only a matter of time before they push for that.
What would happen then? Would you set up a camp? There's a lot of camps going on, isn't there?
We certainly would, and some of our local activists went and supported Balcombe, of course. Locally, we've got Greenpeace.
Yeah, I went down to Balcombe. Did you guys go down there? It was incredible.
We weren't there.
Yeah,
we
massive lorries, massive trucks. Yeah. It's incredible.
It's
You've never seen anything like it.
We are affiliated, the Eastbourne People's Assembly, with our local Eastbourne District Friends of the Earth. We've got a Greenpeace activist group here as well.
We're affiliated with 38 Degrees as well.
We are indeed.
How's the People's Assembly doing as a political movement? Is it growing still?
You mean nationally?
Yeah, nationally.
I would say it is. I mean, obviously social media is a fantastic tool, and that's how we keep in touch with what's going on around the country. But young people, as you know, are becoming more engaged now, aren't they? They're sort of fed up with...
Well, you say that, but we was talking earlier about apathy, and we had the maintenance grants, and big up to all the people that went down to Parliament last week to protest about that. But that's a long way from 5 years ago or 10 years ago when there was student protests against the introduction of student fees, for instance. There was a few hundred there the other day, maybe 1,000.
They've accepted it, haven't they? Young people have accepted that's the status quo.
Amen. Yeah.
I think some people are scared off by, just even being seen to be protesting. When you look at what happened to the students you're talking about, they were vilified, weren't they? They were made
Do you think did you think that's true about all protests? Do you think there's a lot of apathy in the country?
There is. We even see it when we're protesting in our town, We get a lot of support, but we also get a lot of
Why
empathy.
do you think that? Do you think that the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, do you think they're doing enough? Do you think it should be more vociferous, or what do you think?
I'd like to think they could be a bit more vociferous. We kind of think that maybe they're playing the long game. They're trying to be clever, because whatever they do, it's wrong. They're going to be abused by the press, because the press, they're not really the press, are they? The media.
I think that maybe what I don't know, but I think maybe what they're doing is starting out to just be there, be noticed, be seen, make sure that when they are being attacked and vilified by the press, then they have their responses which are level, sensible.
That's exactly what they've been doing, though, isn't it?
So, you know, that in itself hopefully will build people to see, actually, these aren't the, you know, the stupid radicals that they're trying to be made out to be. Actually, they're sensible, very well, you know, presentable.
They've got the new trade union bill. It's toe the line, or you know.
But that trade union bill, I think they really need to hit that hard, you know, before it gets made law, don't they?
Can I point out? I was thumbing through some folders at work, because I had a Unite rep at my workplace, and it said that the fundamental right to organise and have a trade union is enshrined in the European Court of Human Rights. Now, the Tories, as you know, are drafting out their new revised bill. Can you see them keeping that in there in its current form, or in there at all? So this could just be that anyone thinking it's not is naive. This is just a tip of the iceberg, isn't it? The trade union bill. There is a local trades unions council which we're affiliated with as well. They're quite active with, again, some of the activists that we have here. The Jake Lambert from Labour. He's very involved in the NUT.
But do you not feel that society, you know, with the way that the Voice is on TV and then the lottery's on it, in it to win it, that young people are being sold like a dream that's kind of like, you know, it's obviously not real. And
well, that started with Thatcher, didn't it? Being sold a dream that you can have all this, And I think it's not just young people. I think people believe, many people believe that.
What do you reckon, Daz? Have you got a dream?
Do I have a dream? I'd like to have a dream of a better society, really, like where people, care and look out for each other, and that's what it's about, isn't it? Like when you're in a community, like your street and your neighbours, you're meant to, you're meant to just keep an eye out and make sure everything's going all right. Like,
I agree. I mean, it's the legacy that we're leaving for our kids. You've got Tiny, obviously Daz, you've got kids. We've all got kids, and even if you haven't got kids, it's
grandkids.
It's basic compassion and empathy for the younger generations. We've got to think, what are we leaving for them? Like, say, for example, if they get away with fully privatising the NHS, and our kids say, like, in a sort of decade or two's time, Dad, what did you do? I heard the NHS used to be free. It's not now. What did you do? Oh, nothing, son. I don't want to be that guy, and neither do the people that we're organising with here, So, like, silence is consent, essentially, I so believe that, and hence why we're sort of mobilised, taking time out of our free time to organise in our community,